Coffee. Have to have it every morning. As a matter of fact, the first thing I do when I wake up, before I go and pee even, now that's really important if I do it before I pee, is start to brew the coffee. And the reason being is because the stupid coffee maker that I've had it for like 10 years, it's a 4-cupper. It takes half an hour or more to brew the 4 cups. And usually I'll end up just pouring from the little bit that's accumulated in the carafe. But not anymore. I got a new coffee maker. And this morning is the first time I was drinking coffee 4 minutes after I started brewing it. And you know what? It's even hotter. Welcome back to Rob's Feet Today. This is episode number 133, and I'm Rob Schendel. I don't understand. Some days, sometimes it'll go for days. I have nothing I can talk about, nothing I think is interesting enough or worthy of talking about. And I don't want to become like Fox News and create issues that really aren't issues at all. I guess it must be hard to do a 24-hour news service because where you can find all the material. You look, you scour the wires, you look at this, and then you pound on something and make it an issue when it really isn't. And that's not me. That's not my style. But these days, shit just keeps coming at me. So the first thing I want to talk about is Facebook. Now, the things you post on Facebook, are they private? I know a lot of people look, you use your social media the way you want to use it, and you get out of it what you put into it. And I post a lot of stuff, and I don't intend it to be private. I expect all my friends to read them and pass them on to their friends. But there's this case in Florida of a teacher, a high school teacher of the year yet, has been suspended while a Florida school board investigates anti-gay comments he made on his Facebook page. He says it wasn't out of hatred. He's a social studies teacher, by the way. His name is Jerry Bell, B-U-E-L-L. It wasn't out of hatred. It was about the way I interpret things. Well, Bell's interpretation of the marriage equality in New York State left him having to almost throw up. Same-sex marriage, he said, were a cesspool. In Orlando, the Sentinel reports that the critics are concerned that the Mount Dora High School teacher has made gay students feel unwelcome in his classroom. But others argue his comments were private, never intended for the public to see. And I don't know what to think about that. I kind of feel that whatever you put out on the web isn't going to remain private. If you have an opinion on that, let me know. Drop me a line at robsfeedtoday@gmail.com. So I guess today President Obama is beginning his summer vacation, and that's interesting because the right wing is really carrying on. How can he go on vacation now? He's got this economy to care about and this and that. And, well, he's taking a 10-day summer vacation on Martha's Vineyard. And, as I said, the Republicans criticizing him that he's taking time off while the country faces tremendous problems, or so says the Boston Globe. Chicago Sun-Times says, though, that this is Obama's 9th vacation since taking office, and he has spent all or part of 38 days on vacation away from the White House. He has also made 14 visits to Camp David, spanning all or part of 32 days, for a total of 70 days. Now, compare this to President George W. Bush. At this point in his term, had made 14 visits to his Texas ranch, spanning all or part of 102 days, and also made 40 visits to Camp David, spanning all or part of 123 days. His vacation total at this point is in his presidency was all or part of 225 days away from the White House. Now, we have 225 days of the president preceding him, or 70 days this president, and yet this president gets criticized, gets the criticism. I'm really not expecting an answer when I ask this rhetorical question, but what is it about teabagging Republican women when they get questions that they don't want to answer, and how they should be in a sprint, a marathon or something, the way they run from the cameras. Remember back in November of 2010, not that long ago, a woman by the name of Sharon Engel was running against Harry Reid for the United States Senate position in the state of Nevada, and she lost, and that's good. But how many times? It was time after time after time after time. The reporters would ask her, extend the mic and ask her a question, not even terribly complicated questions. It's something about what she would be doing if she was in the Senate, what committee assignments would she seek, and she wouldn't answer. She'd turn and actually run away. And then last episode of Rob Street Today, I showed you Michele Bachmann and how she just refused to answer any of the questions from any of the people interviewing her, and this about gay issues. And then, speaking of gay issues, do you also remember back in November of 2010, over in Delaware, where the woman who she was crazy. She actually had to make up commercials saying that she was not a witch. Christine O'Donnell. Well, she's back in the news, and you've probably seen this already, but this is what she did just last night on Piers Morgan's interview program on CNN, when he asked her, actually, he's interviewing her about her book, and in the book she discusses these issues, but she won't talk to him about them. Take a look.
Right now, I'm curious about whether you support gay marriage.
You're borderline being a little bit rude. You know, I obviously want to talk about the issues that I choose to talk about in the book.
Do you answer that question in the book?
I talk about my religious beliefs. Yeah, I absolutely do.
Do you talk about gay marriage in the book?
What relevance is that right now? Is there a piece of legislation? I mean, I shouldn't be voting on it.
It's obviously one of the most. It's obviously, as you know, because of Michele Bachmann's views and others, it's obviously a highly contentious political issue. I'm just curious what your view is. You keep saying it's in the book, so I'm bemused as to why you wouldn't just say it in an interview if it's in the book.
Because I don't think it's relevant. It's not a topic that I choose to embrace. It's not what I'm championing right now. I've been there, done that, gone down that road. Right now, what I'm trying to do is to promote a book that I hope to be a very inspirational story to people who are part of the Tea Party movement, so that they can continue, you know, in this movement to bring America back to the Second American Revolution. That's my goal. That's my focus right now.
So would you agree with Michele Bachmann that we should maybe repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell? You should restore that?
I'm not talking about policies. I'm not running for office. Ask Michele Bachmann what she thinks. Ask the candidates who are running for office what they think.
Why are you being so weird about this?
I'm not being weird about this, Piers. I'm not running for office. I'm not promoting a legislative agenda. I'm promoting the policies that I lay out in the book that are mostly fiscal, that are mostly constitutional. That's why I agreed to come on your show. That's what I want to talk about. I'm not being weird. You're being a little rude.
I'm baffled as to why you think I'm being rude. I think I'm being rather charming and respectful. I'm just asking you questions based on your own public statements and now what you've written in your own book. It's hardly rude to ask you that, surely.
Well, don't you think as a host, if I say this is what I want to talk about, that's what we should address?
Not really, no. You're a politician.
Yeah, okay, I'm being pulled away. You know, we turned down another interview for this.
Where are you going? You're leaving?
Well, I was supposed to be speaking at the Republican Women's Club at 6 o'clock, and I chose to be a little late for that, not to be, you know, yeah, not to endure a rude talk show host, but to talk to you about my book and to talk about the issues that I address in my book. Have you read the book?
Yes, but these issues are in your book. That's my point. Yeah. You do talk about them.
Okay. All right, are we off? Are we done?
He's still there.
I'm not. I'm still here.
He says he still wants to talk to you.
Well,
It would appear that the interview has just been ended because I had the audacity to ask questions based on stuff that's in this book. Anyway, it's a good book. It's called Troublemaker. I think we now know why it's called Troublemaker. Christine O'Donnell, available in all good bookshops, Making America Great Again.
That's how a bitch looks when she's on camera. Imagine what she's like afterwards. Now here she lies. First she said she turned down another interview to do this one. Then just 3 seconds later, she said she was supposed to be speaking at a Republican women's conference or something. It was just one thing after another out of her mouth. She just will not address the questions that he was asking her. And they're similar to the questions that Michele Bachmann was asked yesterday and would not answer those either. And I have a theory on that. Mr. Judson Phillips, founder and head of the Tea Party Nation, writes that if you're going to play in the big leagues, you have to play by the rules. CNN and Piers Morgan are pretty far to the left, but this time Morgan is right, and O'Donnell was not only wrong, but extremely unprofessional to walk out of the interview. She was on the show to talk about her book, which Morgan commented on favorably. O'Donnell refused to answer the question about gay marriage, saying it is in the book. If you write a book, be expected to answer the questions about what you put in the book. Piers Morgan was not asking anything inappropriate. Christine O'Donnell's immature and unprofessional response makes the Tea Party movement look bad. Was she ashamed of her position on gay marriage? Did she not feel confident enough to defend her beliefs? We will never know. Conservatives everywhere should be able to articulate their political questions and reasons behind them without throwing a temper tantrum when they are asked to defend them. We may have just seen Christine O'Donnell's last primetime performance. I am sure she is a nice person, but she does not understand what she has to do if she is going to be a national figure. If she does not understand this, perhaps fading from the scene might not be a bad thing for her. Now that's from Judson Phillips, head of the Tea Party. My theory is, it wasn't that long ago when the majority of people in this country were down on gay rights. No, in sport now. But times have changed. And these women know that they are on the wrong side of the issue. They know that the majority of the population does indeed support gay marriage equality, does indeed support civil rights for gay people, but they don't. But of course they don't want to say that because they know that every camera is going to catch them doing it, and it's not going to turn out well for them in the end. So when that question is asked, I'm not going to answer that. I'm running for the President of the United States. Why is that relevant? And off they run. The wrong side of the issue. Every gay person's favorite comedian, Kathy Griffin, was on Conan O'Brien earlier this week, and she spoke about the time when she confronted Michele Bachmann about her bigotry. Now, I don't have a copy of that to share with you, but I researched, and she's done it in her stand-up, in her act. So let's watch.
So I went, I was just pretty much right next to her, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she must have thought I was Kathy Lee Gifford or something, because she clearly didn't know who I was, but she must have recognized me or something. And out of the blue, she turns to me and she says, "Oh my goodness, what are you doing here?" Like that. And I wasn't going to start anything, but I just looked at her, and then I noticed her assistant turned on a flip cam. Now, here's the deal. On My Life on the D-List, we didn't punk anybody. If somebody was going to be on the show, they signed a release, they wore a microphone pack, they knew when they were being filmed. I don't roll like that. I don't punk people. And so I thought it was kind of interesting that they would put on the flip cam and not ask permission or say what it was for. So I said, "Well, who's taping this?" And she said, "Oh, that's somebody from my website." So I said, "Well, Congresswoman, I'm actually having a rally Friday in Freedom Plaza to help repeal the military's don't ask, don't tell policy. May I count on your support?" To which she predictably said, "Oh, no, I don't think so." So I look at the chick with the flip cam who doesn't have the smarts to turn it off, and And I said, well, I was just wondering, were you born a bigot or did you grow into it? Okay, so, are you ready for the answer? Well, that's a good question. I'm going to have to think about that. Can you imagine if someone accused you of being a bigot? I mean, it's right up there with freaking the N-word and everything else. At least you're going to BS and backtrack or something like that. No. She just says, oh, that's a good question. So then, I could not believe my good fortune because it was on tape. I was so excited. Plus, I look good. I was in hair and makeup. And so then, I don't know what came over me. Like, I lost my mind. And I think because I was on Law & Order once, I thought I was an attorney. I really lost it because I actually said, let me rephrase. Like I'm the freaking good wife or some shit, you know what I mean? And I said, well, do you feel that you were born a bigot or do you feel it's more environmental? Because, you know, that's always their argument about gay people is it's environmental. And then I thought, okay, give her another chance. And then she goes, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. All right. So this is how Washington rolls, right? By the time I was at the top of the 2-story escalator, there was a guy there from either Reuters or the AP who had a little tape recorder. And he goes, is it true that you just confronted Michele Bachmann on an escalator? I was in heaven. I said, yes, as a matter of fact, I told her about a rally I'm having to help repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And I asked her if she was born a bigot or she just grew into it. And you know what she said? She said it was a good question. She was going to get back to me. Then I asked her if she thought it was genetic or environmental. And she said she'd think about it.
Now, before you flood my email box, yes, I know there were sync issues with that clip, and I apologize for that. But, God, you have to love Kathy Griffin. I do. I love Kathy Griffin. I also like Google Plus. Are you on Google Plus? Would you like to be on Google Plus? I'm getting to like it the more I get used to it, orient myself to it. And if you're not on Google Plus, would like to be, well, first, if you are, make sure you follow me. Second, if you're not, and like to be, I have a bunch of invitations I can send out to you. So just drop me a request at robspeedtoday@gmail.com. Again, that's robspeedtoday@gmail.com. If you're new to Rob Speed Today, welcome. Glad you're here. Hope you subscribe, hope you rate, and hope you comment, as I do with all of you. All you have to do is click on it in iTunes, and you can help me out there. And another way to help me out, I'm getting tired of saying this. You're probably getting tired of hearing it too, but robspeedtoday.com, right in the right-hand column, between the two pride flags now, is a PayPal button. So if you care to send us a donation, you're more than welcome to, and we really appreciate it. And I guess I've spoken enough for today. I'll see you again soon. But right now, that's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.